and welcome to Becky's House of Sewing, where we talk about all things thread and needle. I'm coming to you live from my sewing room, and I am glad to see you. So if you're new here, thank you for joining me for a little chat about threads and needles and all things textiles. If you are a returning member, Ron, thanks for watching. I'm so glad you enjoy it, and it's been fun going on this journey. I've almost got like 35 episodes. It's kind of cool. So, pardon the COVID cough. That's right. I got COVID last week. It is the at least second time I've had COVID. I was very sick when the pandemic first hit, but they weren't really testing anybody, if you remember back then. So I don't know for sure if I had it then, but I bet you it's pretty likely. So, do not recommend getting COVID. Don't know where I got it from. Luckily, it feels like that may have stopped with me. My husband has not gotten sick. Somebody knock on wood. He's got plenty of it out in the yard. But none of my family members or coworkers have gotten it either, so that at least makes me feel good. But, yeah, so even though July is birthday month, which is always fun, and I had a lot of travels at the end of June and in July, got to visit with my niece, got to see my parents. Yeah, I'm happy it's over. Yay, August. But I digress. So, that explains my absence from last week. I very much wanted to join, but yeah, the COVID was not fun. Mild symptoms. Obviously, I didn't have to go to the hospital. I am almost fully vaxxed. I qualified for my second booster, but I was kind of waiting for the flu shot, COVID thing that may be coming out, so I hadn't gotten that, and I guess my little immune system just wasn't up to the task of fighting it again. So I have a lovely cough, but I feel okay. Yeah, so I had a really bad sore throat, a little bit achy, but really just very tired. Like getting dressed, very tiring. But I am returning back to work. I'm on day 7 officially. So I've got about 3 or 4 more days of mask wearing. And of course, continuing to wear a mask in crowded areas. So, I do have some fun things to share with you. Some things I've been thinking about because I didn't really sew much while I was languishing on the couch in pain, awaiting delivery of popsicles. So thank you to my neighbors, Ron and Connie, for always being there in a time of need, which I need an emergency popsicle run. I was out of popsicles and my throat hurt. Popsicles are my go-to feel better solution. But by Monday, which was the day before I went back to work, I was like, oh, I'm feeling better. I should make my time off a little worthwhile and get a little sewing in. So I started back up on some stuff. I did get to meet with my new sewing group the Sunday before I got sick, and of course we had Wednesday stitchers every Wednesday, so I have not been without stitching in my life. I just haven't done a lot of stitching in my life, so, but that's okay. I'm a working woman, and hobbies will be there when I'm ready. So, what have I done? So Monday, I have been working on me rearrange haul so I can get to my whips, which are works in progress, Ron. I've been cross-stitching this. I am not using the called for threads at all, or the called for linens for that matter, but I did, I just pulled stuff from my stash, and then I did use the DMC recommendation for skin tones, because representation matters. And I started in on that a while ago. I showed you guys this already, but I didn't like it. So alas, I started over. So I want to show you the difference. Now I'm using the same threads from the first time to the new time. And I just want to show you the difference. So this is my original. You can see the coverage is a little bit better. And this is my new one that I actually like better. So what's different about this is that the first one, well, both the fabrics are 36 count linen, which means you get 18 stitches to an inch. Because you're using, I'm stitching one thread over two on the new one, but on the first one I was starting 2 threads over 2 threads, so 2 sewing threads over 2 threads of linen, to make my squares. Get a little closer, and it was a little chunky, and there's a couple things wrong with that. I love the coverage, but which means I like how it fills the linen. But what I didn't like was that when I made my X, it was hard to see the next place for the X because the thread was a little bulkier, and I didn't feel like my threads were sitting. You can kind of see, like right here, that they were sitting as nicely. So if you compare to this one, getting it up close, don't mind, that's a parked thread, Ron, right there. How it's a thread still in use, but I didn't want it dangling around. But you can see in comparison how they just sit a little bit differently. The darker threads has a little more of the ground cloth or the linen showing through behind the stitches, but that's kind of why I like cross stitch, so I don't really mind that as much. I had to start on the heart here when I was redoing this. The heart shape, I was doing the color on the hand. The heart shape was not coming together, and I could not figure out where my mistake was, so I started doing the heart until I figured out, oh, I found my mistake. So, this has really been the most cross-stitching I've done since I last did a video. But, hold on, I want to get Kleenex. Excuse me, a little drippy action. But I did work a little bit on, I didn't bring it in, Miss Campbell. And I realized that I had made a mistake somewhere in there. It's very fixable, I don't need to pull anything out. But I haven't gone back to it to get to a good stopping point. But she's on my radar. I did put a couple stitches in her. The other thing I did on Monday, which is actually for prep for next Sunday, is I got out a quilt kit that I had bought last year from Tula Pink called Pining for You. So Tula Pink, which is that lady right there, she is a fabric designer, and she comes from the rock and roll world. She used to work for record labels and make album covers and graphic arts for music labels. Now she does these amazing fabric lines, and everybody wants them. Pardon me, I'm going to go off and wipe my nose again. I'm so pretty. So, I got this. I was all excited. And made a couple of my friends from the Quilt Guild of Charlotte buy it as well. So, I reached out to them and said, hey, do you want to actually start this? And I don't know if you're like me, but I have not started it or even opened it. So they said yes, so we're going to get together via Zoom and get some sewing done. So I took the kit apart and got it all my fabrics labeled. Excuse me. And I started cutting some out tonight. It is really hot to iron. So I thought I would pause in the middle of that and do my video so I don't get an angry text from Ron. Ron, I do appreciate that you like my videos, so keep up the good work, sir. So that's really all the sewing that I've done in the last 2 weeks, I guess it's been since I videoed. It's not all the shopping I've done. Ooh, look, husband alert, husband alert. Whoa, there's a broom. Ooh, it's sexy husband alert. He's cleaning. Woo! Oh, be still my heart. I digress. Sorry. I don't know if anybody else finds it very sexy when their husband vacuums or sweeps the floor. I certainly do. So a couple things as far as haul goes. When I went to Boone to visit my parents and see my niece, my mom had printed out this pattern for me. Gee, I wonder why she thought I would like it. Could it be that I love dachshunds? And we all like the Tilda fabric, but aren't they cute? So here's the funny thing, is that my mom said, you know, we used to have these as autograph dogs. They would be like a blank canvas, and then you'd have your friends sign it. And when I took this to show and tell at my sewing group, one of the ladies said the same thing. I'm like, I already know that. My mom told me all about that. So I thought that was cool. When I visit my mom, I usually come home with stuff, and we refer to it as shopping. So I'm going to count this as haul. And this is really kind of some show and tell. So my mom, lifelong crafters, long line of crafters, all kinds of needle arts, knitting, all kinds of things. And my grandmother was as well. So we have a lot of craft supplies. And my mother is of the age where she is starting to think about reducing those things, even though, you know, shopping is fun. So she's going through stuff and found these old Dmc Alphabets. So on the back, you can see these guys. I'm sure they're out of print, so I don't feel like I'm showing anything untowards, because you're not supposed to show charts on Flosstubes, because you know, you need to be respectful of the designers. But these are, let's see if I can see a date on them. No, there's no dates on them. Is there? No, but they're clearly very old. They're slightly fragile, but they're nice to have the alphabets. And there's some motifs in here as well, but they're adorable. So thanks, Mom. Your trash is my treasure. I appreciate it and love you. So, when Lily needed to go home, my niece, My parents came down to Charlotte to drop her off at the airport, and actually we made arrangements because I was sick on the Sunday that she came, and I was supposed to pick her up and drive her to Boone. They came down and picked her up and drove her back. So I met them at Stash. Yay! I went shopping at Stash in Charlotte again, and we exchanged the child, and I took her to the airport, which was a lot of fun, hanging out with my niece with Uncle Lev. I'm so sorry. So, of course, I bought stuff. First thing I bought, let me see here. I don't need both these packages. I wanted to get more labels. These are labels by Cat M, and I believe they're from Australia. And these labels are just kind of fun to put on my bags and other fun things that I buy people, and they're, little labels that say, they're a little cheeky, one-offs, or sewist, or sewing is sexy, that kind of stuff. And then she had other labels that I got. This one looks like this. Yes, I made it. And Yo Mama made it. I like a good Yo Mama joke. And then I bought a little fabric. So, I think if you recall, if you've been watching me a little bit, I've been trying to collect a little bit of Liberty fabric. And Stash sells Liberty from Riley Blake, because Riley Blake has licensed it, but also has the lawn material from Liberty, which is very gauzy and very sheer, has a nice sheen to it, and it's really good for garment making. So I got this little cute guy. Maybe it's upside down. I didn't realize it was directional. It's not really, I don't think, but there you go. Isn't that cute? So that'll be cute if I do some English paper piecing. And then I got a fat quarter bundle from Unruly Nature by Jen Hewitt. And it looks like this. You can kind of see some of the different fabrics. I'm not doing a good job of showing you. But I really like this fabric here. But I also, like that. And there's some good geometrics in there. They're pretty. No, I don't know what I'm going to make with this. And that's kind of a rude question for a quilter, crafter person. Because you can be a maker, you can be a sewist, you can be interested in making things, but also collecting fabric is also a different hobby. So there you have it. And while I was there, I haven't looked into this, but hey, did you know that there's a craft guild in Charlotte? Look them up. Isn't that cool? So it's all kind of arts, fibers, textiles. So that should be pretty interesting to go to, and I look forward to looking into that. And the other thing I've been really kind of thinking about is my Singer Featherweight. So I haven't really used it much, and there's one Singer Featherweight business, lady-run business, that refurbishes them, paints them, and also will, do the maintenance on them. She has a lot of videos. She's called the Featherweight Doctor on YouTube, and her business is named that too. So I've been watching some of her or some of the featherweight maintenance videos on YouTube lately, because I know before I plug her in again and get sewing on her that I probably need to give her a little attention and oiling before I do so, because she really hasn't run in 3 or 4 years, which is a crying shame. So my goal in life is to learn, because the featherweight Poppy is who serviced her last, and he would come from for the Charlotte Quilters Guild show, and he would usually come like 2 or 3 weeks before the show and pick up all our featherweights, and then when he came to the show we could pick up our serviced featherweight, which was great. But since we haven't had a show in a couple years, I haven't done it, and also haven't used her. So, needless to say, I want to give her a little attention before, she's probably not dusty or anything, but she probably needs a little oiling before I do any sewing on her. And there's, I listened to the Featherweight Doctor on a podcast, and she said that she had a video or something on her website that talked about you should use your featherweight sewing machine at least once a month. So you should never have more machines than what you could use every 30 days. Fair. And I can certainly commit to using it once a month. But if you haven't used it in 30 days, she has some tips and tricks, and I just haven't found that particular video yet. She's got a lot of videos. But what I do want to buy, this is where I'm going to haul things I want to buy. There's a set of screwdrivers and such like that to kind of take some things apart, because the featherweight machine is all metal. It's cast aluminum and all metal, so it's fairly easy to take care of yourself if you know the steps, and I don't think it's beyond my capability of doing so. Obviously, if there was something really wrong, I would seek professional help, but it's not like a computer or anything that you're really going to mess up. It's fairly straightforward, and there's lots of moving parts that need a little bit of oiling. But again, so I want to dig into that. I attempted to try to buy the supplies that I would need to do so, but the screwdrivers are back ordered, and they're also back ordered on the other, there's another featherweight shop.com, I believe, website, and they're sold out there too. And I am honestly too lazy to figure out what sizes I need to buy individually. That is the truth. So I shall await that project, because I have plenty of things to keep me busy, and we will go from there. So those are the things that have been rattling around in my brain when my brain has not been fogged up from mucus from COVID. And I think my voice sounds very hilarious. I hope you enjoy the extra sexy Becky version, as you did the extra sexy Michael version that popped his head in. Mia is asleep on the little bed there, and is adorable. She's doing well. Oh, I don't think I told this story yet, because I've been sick. I took Mia up to Boone to visit with Lily, because she's my dog, and I can. She's a blind dog, if you don't remember, a blind, adorable miniature dachshund, Blondie, short-haired. And my parents have a porch off the back of their house, which is a story up. It's above the basement, and the basement is a walkout basement off the side of the hill. And as I was, it was built 47 years ago, the house. So the railings there are not necessarily safe. And as a child, they put chicken wire up so they didn't have to worry about my brother and I falling off. So my blind dog, and you may see where this is going, literally walked off the side of the porch and fell 10 feet. I'm not crying, and I'm laughing about it a little bit, so she's fine. The amazing Flying Mia. But she did receive a middle name from this episode. She is now Mia Louise. So Mia Lou took a flying leap off unknowingly, unwittingly, luckily fell on soft ground and didn't get hurt. She hurt herself, but nothing was broken, nothing was out of place. She was just sore, as one would be if you fell 10 feet onto the ground on your hip. So yes, the amazing Flying Mia. I have shown you all my stitching, so I think I am going to go back to not talking and listening to podcasts while I cut out some more fabric for my Pining for You. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. God willing, I am not sick next week. Lord help me if I get another cold or something. I shall persevere. Thank you for listening to me cough and wipe my nose, and I apologize for all that grossness, but I wanted you to see my smiling face and share with you what my thoughts were on all the things thread and needle in my life. Have a good one. I'll see you next week. Bye.